PMS, pregnancy, menopause. Each stage of womanhood has its unique challenges. That's why Highlands Naturals' new women's multivitamins are formulated with essential daily nutrients, plus targeted support for your life stage. Facing PMS? There's a Highlands Multi for that. Navigating pregnancy and morning sickness? That too. In the throes of menopause, our formula is here to support you through hot flashes and skin changes. Gone are the days of juggling multiple supplements or guessing what you might need. With Highlands Naturals, it's one multivitamin with daily essential nutrients and science-backed ingredients to support you. An all-in-one wellness solution to lighten the load for women? Highlands Naturals is here for it. Find your multi at Amazon or Highlands.com. That's HYLANDS.com. Highlands Naturals. We're here for it.
Are you spending more time in your basement now that it's your rec room, office, kids' playroom, or home gym? Well, you need to ventilate those spaces to remove stagnant, musty air. For over 20 years, the Easy Breathe ventilation system exchanges dirty, damp air for cleaner, drier, healthier air. Take charge of your indoor air with your own Easy Breathe ventilation system. You can get it installed, or DIY kits are available. Just call 866-822-7328 or visit takechargeofyourair.com and receive 20% off today.
If you really like this episode, please support our podcast by going to patreon.com/truecrimewives and get lots of great extras. Good Wives Guide to True Crime. We discuss crimes that some may find disturbing. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome back, listeners. Tonight's case is well known all across the country and even the world. In this episode, we'll discuss the murder of Travis Alexander and the murderer, Jodi Arias. We'll talk about who they were, how they met, and the tragic events that took place after their breakup up until Jodi's arrest. We also had the pleasure of interviewing Kirk Nurmi, who was one of Jodi's attorneys and author of the books Trapped with Miss Arias, Part 1, From Getting the File to Being Ready for Trial, and Parts 2 and 3, My Final Words. The interview was filled with so much interesting info, so be sure not to miss it.
We don't know what day is our final day here on this earth. But what is certain is that tomorrow is one day closer.
Hey folks, it's time to grab your glass of wine because Fancy, Tori, and Christina are about to serve up another true crime dish.
On June 9th, 2008, Mimi Hall, a friend of Travis Alexander's, went to Travis's home with two other friends to check on him. Mimi and Travis were supposed to go to Cancun together the next day, but Travis hadn't called her and she couldn't reach him at all. It had been days since anyone had heard from him and everyone was getting increasingly concerned. When Travis didn't come to the door, they entered his home. What they found inside was straight out of a gory horror movie. A horrible odor hit them, and then Travis' brutally ravaged dead body was found in the shower. His friends immediately suspected that ex-girlfriend Jodi Arias was responsible. From the moment we heard about Travis Alexander's murder and his killer Jodi Arias, they became household names. Two very good-looking people, a toxic relationship, religion, obsession, a breakup, sex, and a brutal murder. People were on the edge of their seats waiting to see what would be uncovered next and who could blame them. So this case is kind of crazy that I really didn't pay a whole lot of attention while it was happening because I was really involved in the Casey Anthony case, and I think they were happening right around the same time. But Travis Alexander is actually from my hometown, and my best friend, who is just a couple years behind me in school, he was just a couple years behind her, and she actually knew him because she became Mormon in high school, and so she knew him, she knew his family, and she said this case just makes her sick because of all the things that Jodi tried to say about him, and whatever he did in his life while he was alive has no bearing on the fact that she murdered him, and brutally so.
I also had the same thought process at the time, so when this all happened, I was younger. I was still in high school when this happened. But I was following the Casey Anthony case as well. And there were so many other major, huge cases happening right around that time that there was just so much going on. So I didn't necessarily pay attention to Jodi until the past couple years. And then I looked up a ton more information when we got hooked up with Kirk Nurmi, and he got to share his side of it. And actually getting to talk to a defense attorney is something really interesting, because we talk about, and with law enforcement officers and some prosecuting lawyers, FBI agents, so the people investigating and trying to convict cases, we don't often get to talk to the defense side. So he brought an awesome new perspective, and obviously many details about the case.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been reading Juan Martinez's book, Conviction. And it's really good. It's very informative. In fact, it's what got me interested to watch more stuff about her. Because we talked with Kirk, and I did look up some stuff, but when I started reading the book and hearing all these weird things that she did while being interrogated and everything, I was like, I've got to know more. This lady is totally bananas. And she really is. Like, it's just weird. And the thing is this case has continued. Even though it has completed, it's continued to be odd. Both attorneys, the defense attorney and the prosecution attorney, which just came out the other day, have both been disbarred. Kirk was disbarred because, he came out with his tell-all book, breaking the confidence between, client attorney privilege, coming out and breaking that. And now Juan Martinez has been accused of sexual misconduct and all kinds of different things. So it's really strange. I've never seen a case where both attorneys have been disbarred at some point. It's really nuts.
Yeah,
and this is one of those cases, like a writer, like someone who writes movies for a living. I don't think they would like come up with something this crazy.
I know I wouldn't, and I'm a writer that writes things like this. Tori, what about you? Tori,
it's just nuts.
Tori, what about you? We both write this kind of stuff together, so I mean, would you be able to come up with something like this?
Sure, I'd be able to with you. Stuff. Most people couldn't, but I'm sure we probably could.
You're right. You're totally right, actually. We come up with some crazy stuff.
Come up with.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just crazy because, again, the big case at the time of Casey Anthony, she was also doing some crazy, weird, messed up shit.
But she wasn't standing on her head in the interrogation room and doing handstands. Like, that is the most bizarre thing. What the hell was she doing? Well,
I mean, she wasn't doing that, but she led the police down a corridor at Universal that she didn't work at.
I know. That one was the craziest thing, and that whole thing to me was like, she led them all the way down the hallway and then turned around and looked at him and go, yeah, I actually don't work here. No shit, really?
Right. I thought that was
like, and she's walking down the hallway and saying hi to people like, hey, good morning. And then looking at her like, who are you?
It reminds me of like the CEO that walks through that like says stuff to people randomly, like, hey, how's your wife? They're not married, but he doesn't know, but he's just randomly yelling it out at the person. Hey, Joe, did you yesterday? How was your fourth on the green? Whatever. These just weird random things. Like, that's exactly what it reminded me of,
I think it's safe to say Casey Anthony and Jodi Arias are like different branches on the same crazy tree or something.
Oh God, yes. Oh God, yes. So, we played that clip for you at the beginning here of the quote that Travis gave. We don't know what day is our final day here on this earth, but what is for certain is that tomorrow is one day closer, Travis Alexander. So, Christina, you have some information about that quote specifically, right?
It was, yeah. One of the things that Travis did was he was a motivational speaker, and he did motivational speeches for the prepaid legal services company. Mm-hmm. And that was at one of their events that they had. And when I listened to it, his friend had shared it on YouTube, and he said this was a little over a month before Travis was killed. And I even have chills right now while we're talking about it.
Oh yeah, it's like, yeah, it just definitely
touched me, and I was like, that we have to play this clip of him saying this is like, it really touches knowing what you know now.
Yeah.
Well, it's so tragic and horrifying that like he says this a month before he dies. Like,
yeah. Right. Right.
Like, he doesn't know what's going to happen, but maybe he had a premonition. I don't know. We see a couple of these cases where they say something so deeply moving,
profound. Yeah.
and like the case I discovered with the Glee actress Naya Rivera. She had just posted a picture of her and her son on Facebook and on Instagram, saying like, we don't know when our last day will be our last, so live every moment like it's your last. Like, she posted that a few days before she drowned. Like, just that's heartbreaking. That's hard.
And that story is insane. The fact that, I mean, not her specifically, I don't think there's anything like weird about it or nothing, but the fact that 3 of them from the Glee cast have now passed away is the Glee cast cursed, like, holy crapanola.
Well, the age of 27 is cursed.
Yeah.
Almost every musician who dies young has died at 27.
Well, and the thing with her was she died on the same day, like, as one of the others, right?
Corey Monty.
Corey, yeah.
I think they found her body on the 7-year anniversary of Corey's death.
That's just so sad. Anyway, so guys, we're going to be talking all about Jodi Arias tonight. We're going to do I think we're going to do 2 parts on this. It may end up being 3, just depending on how much information we pack in here. But we definitely are going to take you on a really strange, wild ride, because this case is so bizarre. You would never think that somebody would actually have, intimate sexual moments with a person and then kill them just right after, and not being something like, I mean, we know that happens in like, like prostitutes and things like that, where they bring them and then they kill them. But this was a really strange day that they spent together, and ended up in the tragic loss of his life. So we're going to take you on a really wild ride.
Don't go anywhere. The Good Wives will be right back. If you've been listening to our podcast for some time, then you've probably noticed that there's been some different changes going on. And that's because we've recently switched over to our new hosting platform using Buzzsprout. And we love it. It could not have been a smoother transition. Buzzsprout has made it super simple and gave us amazing features we weren't getting before. So if you've been thinking of hosting a podcast, or you're looking for a new host, then we totally recommend giving Buzzsprout a try. Buzzsprout is hands down the easiest and best way to launch, promote, and track your podcast. Your show can be online and listed in all the major podcast directories like Apple, Spotify, Google, and even Pandora within minutes of finishing your recording. So join over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout to get their message out to the world. And if you follow the link in the show notes, that lets Buzzsprout know we sent you. And it helps you get a $20 Amazon gift card if you sign up for a paid plan. And it helps support our show. In every episode, we like to serve up a special dish from the state that our crime takes place. So here's our resident Cajun Mama Ty to tell you what our true crime dish of the week is.
Hey guys, it's me, Cajun Mama Ty, and I am here with another wonderful recipe. I'm so excited to let y'all know that I have someone who sent me a recipe. As the Good Wives talk about the Jodi Arias case, which takes place in Arizona, a friend of mine named Nancy Coates, who lives in Oro Valley, Arizona, sent me a recipe, and I'm so excited to share her recipe, which it is called Chickaritos. She serves this recipe to her family, and she sometimes substitutes chicken for beef, and sometimes instead of baking, she fries them. So I'm excited to share the recipe with you guys, and so we'll be back. I'll send y'all back to the Good Wives, and we'll be back in a few to give you the directions and ingredients on how to make the recipe.
Jodi and Arias was born on July 8th, 1980 in Salinas, California. Her parents are William and Sandra. She has an older half-sister, 2 younger brothers, Joey and Carl, and 1 younger sister, Angela. Jodi showed an interest in photography at the early age of 10, and it was something that she pursued for the rest of her life.
Her childhood seems rather normal. However, she does allege her parents started abusing her when she was 7, claiming that they hit her with belts and wooden spoons. And her mom, Sandy, says that her childhood was happy and normal. There have also been allegations that Jodi was violent toward her mother at times. Now, see, I don't think that she was actually abused.
No, I was
all.
going to say that too. I don't think she was.
It didn't come out until she was trying to figure out how to, justify her own actions. And nothing that I see from that family indicates that to me at all.
Well, and I think that it was that she needed an excuse, kind of like with in the Casey Anthony case, saying that her dad had sexually abused her. Like, no, I don't believe so. I definitely believe that you are violent to your own parents. Like, I think you're the crazy one.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, she's come out and said that she doesn't have an excuse, that she had a great relationship with her mom growing up, and that she wasn't abused by her dad, she wasn't picked on by her dad, that she was close with him as well. So she's openly said in interviews that she doesn't have an excuse for what she did. She doesn't have a background that she can blame what she did on. And her mom is still one of her strongest supporters. So I don't buy that she was mean to her mom, other than every teenage girl is mean to her mom at some point in her life because hormones, I mean, so other than that, I don't buy it.
Yeah, I don't buy that she was abused, for darn sure. But the thing is, with this girl, you can't trust anything she says. One second she's saying something like, death is the biggest freedom, and if I'm convicted, then I hope that that's what they choose, blah, blah, blah. And then the next week in court, she's begging them to not put her to death because of her family, and please don't do it because of them, and blah, blah, blah. She's just a psycho. It's a habitual liar. Just awful.
I don't think that.
Introducing the Soul Collection by Brilliant Earth, the global leader in ethically sourced fine jewelry. From pave rings to star-studded bracelets, each piece made with recycled gold or silver and beyond conflict-free diamonds embodies Brilliant Earth's commitment to design, craftsmanship, quality, sustainability, and transparency. Drawing inspiration from the warmth and energy of the sun, Soul is more than jewelry. It's an expression of your personality. The Soul Collection, exclusively at Brilliant Earth. Be light, be you.
CuriosityStream is the streaming service for people who want to know more. And now check out Curiosity's new series, Queens of Ancient Egypt. When pharaohs held the throne, their wives held the power.
We see her taking precedence over the pharaoh, an absolute mastermind.
All hail the queens.
This is unprecedented.
Watch Queens of Ancient Egypt now on CuriosityStream. With monthly, annual, and bundled plans. Find the one that works for you at CuriosityStream.com.
She's young when this, happened, a younger woman. She's not a kid anymore. And so she doesn't have an excuse of that raging teenage hormones, I'm angry phase. Yeah. This was a thought out, this is what she was going to do. And I don't believe, I just definitely think the whole trying to find an excuse was why she blamed her parents for her behavior for a hot minute. But there was no.
Well, she just changes constantly, coming out with the stuff she said about Travis eventually that we're going to talk about later. She just changes until she finds the right thing that people might feel sorry for her for, and have some sympathy. It's ridiculous. So when she was a junior in high school.
Interrogation. Sorry.
What, Christina?
We'll see that later in the interrogation, how, when she realizes she's backed in a corner, then that's when the story changes to see, well, maybe if I go this way, it'll work a little bit better for me. So let's try this. And you'll see that throughout with her.
Right. Exactly. When she was a junior in high school, she dropped out of Wairika High School to begin her career as a professional photographer. She also went through a rebellious phase and moved out of her parents' house around this time. And she worked various part-time jobs to support herself. But in 2001, when she was 21, she began working as a waitress in a restaurant in the Ventana Inn and Spa in Carmel, California. She lived in staff housing for a couple of years, and in 2003, she began a relationship with 40-year-old Daryl Brewer, who was the restaurant food and beverage manager. And this is a strange relationship, too. I've read a lot about that, and it's super weird.
I mean, who drops out of high school at junior to be a photographer? Like, photographer is something you don't even need a degree to do. But
right.
like,
So yeah, I don't know. I think she was just bored in high school. She seems the type that, like, that's her thing, is she's bored of things, and so she just like, oh well, I'm done with that. It just because she did that with the Daryl. She just dropped him all of a sudden, like, just on a lark about meeting Travis. Like, it's just such a weird thing.
well, right, and they were in a pretty committed relationship, because in May 2005, Jodi and Daryl bought a house together in Palm Desert, California. They agreed to split the mortgage on the home, and their relationship seemed to be going well. You don't just buy a house with somebody. Like,
right.
No, that's a long-term commitment.
I mean, so it's been, this thing with Daryl Brewer, it's been alleged that she just kind of did this. Like, she got really involved with guys very quickly, fell in love almost immediately, and could never be without a guy. So it just seems such a weird, she's got an obsession with men, obviously.
But it's just that needy personality.
Yeah, it's a needy personality. You're right. So, so they bought this house together. And then the following year, 2006, Jodi started looking into working for prepaid legal services. She was also still working as a server, but she was struggling financially and was looking for something new. And a few months later, Jodi and Daryl's relationship began to change. And he even said that she became financially irresponsible, and she defaulted on her financial responsibilities, including like helping him pay for the house.
So one of the things that began to change with their relationship is Jodi decided that she didn't want to have sex with Daryl anymore. And she started telling him that she wanted to save herself for her future husband. Now, unbeknownst to Daryl, Jodi had met someone that she was interested in when she went on a trip to a prepaid legal services conference. That someone was Travis Alexander. And Jodi officially ended her relationship with Daryl just days after meeting Travis.
That's so weird. Crazy to me. Like, I'm going to start from the beginning of that. Like, you had already had sex with Daryl. What do you mean saving yourself for your future husband? The horse is out of the barn, lady.
It's that born again virgin.
Yeah, that born again version. Yeah, virgin. Oh. Yeah, exactly. And the thing is like, she just, it's so funny to me that she just like immediately latches on to Travis. Like, dude, she was never going to be the woman for him. Like, it just was never going to happen. But as her relationship deteriorated with Brewer, they planned to move to Monterey to be closer to his son. So Jodi didn't want to go with them. So they agreed that she would remain in the house until it was sold. But the relationship ends in December 2006. They remain friends and occasionally call each other. But the following year, because she doesn't do what she's supposed to do, the house goes into foreclosure.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, it's just the irresponsible.
It was that's the similarity I see with her and Casey Anthony. It's like,
yes,
they get in where they fit in. They are like a chameleon where they fit in with whoever they're with, and then when they're done with that, they're just done and move on and forget the responsibilities I had there. It's time for me to move on now.
Right. And that's the thing. I think I go back and forth with what I think about why she committed this murder. I think it's kind of a wealth of things. Like, it was like, oh, you don't want me? Well, then nobody can have you, that kind of thing. But she was setting up a new relationship with a new guy. So I feel like that was like the only way she was going to be able to go ahead and go on to the new guy was to completely erase Travis. I just think that, but it definitely is partially well, if I can't have you, nobody can, because she was very jealous of all of that.
So Travis Victor Alexander was born on July 28, 1977 in Riverside, California. His parents, Gary Alexander and Pamela Morgan Alexander, were addicted to drugs, and Travis suffered abuse and neglect in the home. He later wrote about it on his blog. His father wasn't around much, and he and his siblings were left with their mom. She would binge on drugs, and then she would sleep for days, leaving the kids without food to eat. Travis developed a fear of roaches, and as an adult, he said it was the one thing he was afraid of because the infestations in the house wasn't clean, it was neglected, and it would develop these huge roach infestations. And as an adult, that was the only thing that he said that he was afraid of in his life.
Oh, so awful.
Well, see, he definitely fits the abused child.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. And I think, when you listen to his siblings talk about him when they got to the sentencing phase for Jodi, it is heartbreaking to hear the things that they had to say about what his impact on their lives were because of the relationship between their mother and him in them, and that he was like their beacon of hope, that he was a light in the whole thing and always trying to care for all of them, and he was the rock that held them all together. Like, it was really emotional when I watched the parts of that on the 3-part special that I watched. It was really sad to listen to them talk about it because they had been through so much, And so when the parents lost the house, he moved into a camper shell in his aunt's backyard with his mother and 3 little sisters. And the living situation was really far from ideal, especially for small children. Travis was bullied at school. He never had a lot of friends. His clothes weren't washed, and there were times he had lice, but Travis didn't let the other kids bother him too much. Because of what he went through at school, didn't even come close to the verbal and physical abuse and neglect he suffered at home at the hands of his mother. It was difficult. It was more difficult of a childhood for those little kids than we can even imagine. And one of his blog posts goes into great detail, and it is going to bring absolute tears to your eyes if you read it. And it reminds me, it reminds me so much of a book a child called It. That book was horrible. I had to read that for a class, and I'm telling you, I have never in my life retched so much from reading something. That book literally caused me to vomit constantly while reading.
Yes, that book is heartbreaking. Like forcing a child to drink bleach and eat their own vomit. And it's a hard book to read. I also read it for school, but I read books like that all the time. Like there's a book, Annie's Baby, where it's about, a teenager being raped and having to have his baby. So I read those books for fun, but it was one of the hardest books about abuse.
Yeah, definitely. Until the only other time I've seen anything even come close to it is really this Gabriel Fernandez case that has broken in the last, and that was heartbreaking too. But I mean, that book was really, really hard for me. I know there were times where I would throw it across the room and just be like, oh God, I can't read any more of this. But it was so compelling because I needed to know how the story turned out, and I've seen him interviewed on several talk shows, and he's a remarkable person for everything that he went through. You would think that, they talk about people becoming serial killers because of abuse at their parents' hands or whatever. But you know what? That is not the norm. There are so many people that survive and don't turn to murder, and don't become rapists or murderers, or even like Gypsy Rose Blanchard. I mean, we talk about the fact that yes, everything about Gypsy was caused by her mother, but she made an adult decision instead of leaving or contacting her father or talking to anybody. The answer to her was murder, and not everybody would make that decision.
Right. And he, the author of that book, wrote a couple other books later on after he was taken out of her custody. And other situations like that. So it was really good. And it's a really easy book to read, guys, like in terms of difficulty and challenging reading. And you can find it at a library, Amazon. I recommend you read it if you're interested in parental abuse of children and how kids slip through the cracks at things.
Just be warned, it is very graphic.
Right. Well, so when Travis was 11, he and his siblings eventually moved into a home of his parental grandparents. It was his grandmother who raised them from then on, and that's when Travis's life began to change. He thrived with his grandmother. She was a Mormon, and she led him on the path of religion. He also had a great-grandpa named Vic, that he didn't see often, but he always instilled in Travis that he was special and that nobody could take that away from him. And Travis always remembered those words.
Yeah, I mean, the grandmother really comes in and saves the day here, and she really starts to give these kids an actual like foundation, you know, in the fact that they could have a normal home life, that, you know, instilling the church in them, and you know, whether you believe in God or not, you have to know that when you're trying, you know, in a situation like this, that probably gave him a lot of peace, being, you know, in the church and feeling loved for the first time, not just by his grandmother, but by, especially in the Mormon church, you know, they're very very community based, you know, and I'm sure that made him feel very, very good after everything that he had been through, you know. And as Travis, go ahead.
I was going to say that if, when people go through challenging situations and they need an outlet, they turn to a group, and, you know, sometimes that's really productive in, you know, religion. But sometimes, you know, people go to, you know, the wrong choices. Sometimes, like Jonestown, people went out to Jonestown. Some people turn to a lifestyle that's totally the opposite of, you know, what they grew up. If they grew up in the church, but they feel betrayed by the church, they might, you know, go join a punk rock band or become a groupie. You know?
Well, like I had a lot of issues with my mom growing up. And when I was my first year of college, I got involved with a cult, the International Churches of Christ. Now, not to be confused with just the regular Church of Christ. They're a strange break-off of that church, started by Kip McKeon. And it was the same thing. Like, I was just looking for somewhere to belong and feel like I, you know, had a community and things, because I'd had such a hard time with my mom. I'd been bullied when I was a kid, you know, even though I had a group of friends, but we all kind of dispersed after high school, and we didn't really hang out a whole lot after that. And so I was really in need of something like that. And they are the kind of church that preys on young college students, especially, who are looking for something, you know, better in their lives, and they prey on it. And so, yeah, you're right. You can turn to that. And thankfully I got out pretty quickly, because I have a strong mind, extremely strong mind. And so they weren't able to do a lot of the things that they were able to do other people, because they used a lot of brainwashing techniques and things like that. And they alienate you from your family, and they make you feel like they're the only people who care about you, you know, and they're constantly asking you the bad things that you've done, you know, all these different things. And I just constantly questioned them on things that just didn't make sense to me. And so eventually, like, after, I would think I was only in for 3 or 4 months, I eventually left, like, in the middle of the day when everybody was supposed to be at a wedding for one of the members. And I was actually supposed to sing at the wedding. And I called up my mom and I told her, I said, you need to come with the truck and get me right now, because if I leave any other time, I'm not going to leave. And so, and then I had to message, you know, my friend and be like, I'm very sorry. I know I was supposed to sing for your wedding today, but I just won't be doing so, because I'm leaving, you know. And I never understood my purpose of why I was there until much later, when I was able to lead almost 20 people left because of the things that I had said and done while I was in there. And so I believe that I was led there to lead other people away, you know. And these people have reached out to me since then and told me, thank you so much for questioning. It caused me to begin thinking, and so I left.
Well, and that happens so much more often than people realize. And that's what happens with a lot of violent organizations too. Not just, you know, gangs or in, you know, our country, but gangs across the world, and even terrorist organizations. They make you feel that the people in your life don't care about you, that they're the only ones who care about you, and that, you know, they make you think about all the bad things that the people who do love you did to you. So you're angry at them, you commit violence, and you leave them and never go back.
Introducing the Soul Collection by Brilliant Earth, the global leader in ethically sourced fine jewelry. From pave rings to star-studded bracelets, each piece made with recycled gold or silver and beyond conflict-free diamonds, embodies Brilliant Earth's commitment to design, craftsmanship, quality, sustainability, and transparency. Drawing inspiration from the warmth and energy of the sun, Soul is more than jewelry. It's an expression of your personality. The Soul Collection, exclusively at Brilliant Earth. Be light, be you.
Home is a place to laugh, learn, and play, and a place where everyone should always feel safe. That's why at Kidda, we believe that protecting children from house fires is everyone's cause. This Fire Safety Month, join us in our mission to help families everywhere learn about fire safety so we can help keep children safe at home and ensure lots more laughs in the future. Learn about the importance of smoke alarms and creating your own home fire safety plan at cause4alarm.org.
Right, and it's a good thing that Travis didn't go down that road. I mean, so as he grew up, he worked hard at everything that he did, and he got more involved in the Mormon Church. So he wanted to give himself and his siblings a better life. So Travis graduated from Rubidoux High School, and after graduation, he went on a mission to Denver, Colorado for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So 2 years later, when the mission was complete, he went back to his grandmother's house and later moved to Arizona and bought his own home. So he did really well. Like, he's a kid that really had a good story. Like, I was in poverty, I was abused, I had a terrible upbringing, but look what I've done. I made myself something. I graduated. I've gone on. I've bought my own home. I'm taking care of my siblings. So it's really a champion story, here. And it's so sad that it's snuffed out too early,
Yeah.
Over the next several years, Travis wore many hats in his career, and he really began to make his mark. He became a network marketer and a salesman for prepaid legal services. He was an entrepreneur, starting a clothing company of his own. He was very involved in the church, and he became a motivational speaker as well. Travis was intelligent, handsome, charismatic, and successful. He was financially stable, and he traveled a lot for his career. He had taken this terrible childhood, and he turned his life around into something amazing. And at this time, Travis's future was looking extraordinarily bright.
And in walks hell. He's doing so good and things are going so well for him. And then walks evil incarnate in Jodi Arias.
And that's what I was just going to say. We talk about murder by design, where, murderers are not just born, they're made. Yes. And with Jodi, I think she's one of those people that were just born evil. There's just something evil inside of her.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think every person is made to be a murderer. There are some people that are born just bad seeds,
Yeah, I think she's one of those.
Well, she's definitely a sociopath, so she's a very, very awful person. So in September 2006, Prepaid Legal Services held a conference in Las Vegas, Nevada. Travis was not only attending the conference, he was also a speaker at the event. So Jodi and Travis are actually fixed up on a blind date that night at the Rainforest Cafe, and they hit it off immediately. They were attracted to each other right away. I mean, yeah, they were good-looking people, And Travis even invited Jodi to be his date for the company's formal executive dinner. Now, you know what? People talk about how beautiful she is. I personally do not think she's anything special to look at. I think she's just a normal, average-looking girl. I don't see what other people see when they're like, oh my God, she was so pretty. I just don't see it.
Right, to me, she's average. She's not, a bombshell. She's pretty.
Yeah,
she's not.
When they use that blonde bombshell, I'm like, I think she's just a woman who learned to use her sexuality as a weapon.
Yes, exactly. And that's part of the evil in her. That's, she used her womanly, charms to just worm her way into things and take advantage of people. And I really feel that that's a pattern with her, is that she is just a person who takes advantage of people. And she's just, I don't know, maybe it's because I see this evil oozing out of her that I can't see anything else. Because, my grandmother used to tell me was pretty is as pretty does. You could be the most beautiful person on the outside, but if you're ugly inside, then you're just an ugly person.
Yes.
And that's
100%.
What she looks to me. She just looks like an awful, horrible person. So maybe I just don't see the pretty, but I don't know. So
I think you have to see her probably before she committed the acts.
I don't know, because I don't know. I look at the pictures and I'm just like,
Nah. Yeah, same.
I mean, she's all right, but nothing to write home about. Like, I wouldn't be like stopped in the street and be like, oh my God, she's so stunning. Like, she's not Gwyneth Paltrow, like, or Charlize Theron. Like, they're beautiful bombshells, blonde bombshells, but she's nothing special. And she's not even a blonde. She's freaking a mousy brunette, for crying out loud. Like,
right. But I mean, I guess Travis saw something in her, because after the conference, Jodi went back to California and Travis returned home to Arizona, but they did stay in contact through phone calls and text messages.
Yeah, I think he saw something in her, all right. I think he saw a sleaziness in her. That's what I think he saw.
So let's have some premarital intercourse.
I don't think it was ever on the table that he was really going to marry her or anything else. I think she really was I'm a Mormon boy, and eventually I'm going to settle down with a really nice Molly Mormon, as they call them, the little homemaker who is, takes care of his kids and makes him his food and all that stuff and takes good care of him, like the Mormon women are prone to be doing, and I think he thought that she was some strange on the side for a little while, like let me get all this out right now so that when I get married, I will be dedicated to my lovely, wonderful sweetheart of a wife who would never do any of this stuff, Like, I think that's definitely what it was at least that's what I look at it as. I don't know what you guys think, but that's what I look at it as.
Don't go anywhere. The Good Wives will be right back. This episode has been sponsored by the Oliphant Institute. The Good Wives have been actively taking criminal justice courses at Oliphant Institute. Our good friend Stephen David Lampley, who is one of our regular guests on our YouTube channel Murder by Design, is a 24-year retired SVU detective and the founder of the Institute. Stephen himself teaches each class, and they are no longer than an hour. They're super informative and very interesting, and you can't beat the price, as each class only costs $20. If you're interested in learning more about serial killers, human decomposition, and many other criminal justice topics, but don't really care about a degree, then the Oliphant Institute is the right place for you. Head on over to oliphantinstitute.com. That's OLIPHANT institute.com, and get registered for a class today.
Hey guys, it's me, Cajun Mama Ty. I'm back here. I have the band playing in the background, and they're playing the music that they're playing is an accordion, which is a French apparatus that is used to play music. So it's exciting that I have them playing in the background today. So I'm ready to give you the recipe that my friend Nancy sent us, called Chickeritos. So the Chickeritos recipe calls for finely chopped chicken. I use chicken breasts. We're going to use some shredded cheddar cheese. We're going to use some green chilies, green onions, Louisiana hot sauce. It says hot pepper sauce, but we all, here in Louisiana, we use that Louisiana hot sauce. Some paprika, some ground cumin, a little pepper. We're going to get two packages of frozen pastry, an egg, and then you want to do whatever type of salsa or guacamole that you like to use as a side. So we'll go ahead and we'll start with the directions on how to cook this. It's rather simple. It's easy. You want to make sure that you cook your chicken first. I like to use chicken breast. You can even buy the chicken breast already pre-cooked in the frozen section. And you can cut it up finely. So what we're going to do once your chicken is cooked, We're going to preheat your oven to 425. And in a large bowl, you want to combine your chicken, your cheese, your chilies, your onions, your pepper, Louisiana hot sauce, and all of your seasonings. So you want to mix that all together really well. The second thing you want to do is you want to take your frozen puff pastry, make sure that it's thawed out, and you want to unfold one sheet and lightly flour the surface. Roll it to a 12 by 9 rectangle, and you want to cut it in 9 rectangles. Then once you have the little 9 rectangles, you're going to take 2 tablespoons of filling and put it in the center of the rectangle. And you're going to put the pastry together, and you're going to seal the edges with a fork, and you're going to brush it with a pastry brush and use an egg wash. So with the egg wash, you're going to use the egg, you're going to just break the egg and put your brush in the egg and go on top of your burrito. It's like a burrito. You want to refrigerate them to get them to make them hard. And then once you're ready to bake them, you put them in the oven. You bake them between 20 to 25 minutes until they're golden brown on a greased baking sheet with the seam side down. The other thing you can do, like my friend Nancy said, was take the pastry and deep fry it in oil and let it brown on all sides and until it becomes really crispy. And that usually takes about 15 to 20 minutes in the oil to get it a nice golden brown. And then then you serve it with salsa or guacamole, salsa and guacamole. So if you guys want to participate and send me a recipe, just make sure you tell me a little note of what the recipe's about. If you have a story, attach a story to it. Give me your name and where you're from. And also email me at Cajun Mama Ty, and that's CajunMommaTie at gmail.com. That's Cajun Mama Ty at gmail.com. I'll be excited to hear from you guys, and let's head back to the Good Wives as they continue talking about the Jodi Arias case. Thank you.
Ty, another great recipe. For the full recipe that was shared tonight, join us at our exclusive membership club at www.patreon.com/truecrimewives.
Jodi and Travis lived several hours away from each other, about 300 miles apart. They were in different states, but they managed to start a long-distance relationship. Again, I think that's so hard to do, especially like you don't know each other. It's one thing, it's like, oh, we went to high school together, we dated, several years ago, but we're apart now, but I want to still be with you. Like you met him at a conference.
Like if you were, like you said, high school sweethearts or whatever, and one goes off to college in one state and another one, the other one goes off to a college in another state, you try to make that work out, right? Because you really care about each other. It doesn't generally work out. I think 9 times out of 10 long distance relationships never work out. But
they never do.
At least they tried. But this is weird because it's not even like you said, like they have no connection.
It's just you met at a weekend conference.
It reminds me of Gypsy and Nick.
Yes. Like, we are so in love. We're gonna get married. You've never even met him. Right, like, you met him once, did it in a bathroom, and now he's gonna come rescue you and save you and kill your mom for you. Like, no, that's not how this works. But so after they start this long distance relationship, Jodi quickly ended her relationship with Daryl, which obviously we said before, they pretty much broke up within a few days after she met Travis. Way too soon. I'm sorry. You don't even know if it's going to work out.
Right.
But she and Travis would spend hours on the phone and exchange thousands of text messages while they were getting to know each other. And
I'm telling you, this is sounding like Gypsy and Nick more and more.
Well, like, I totally get that because when Tim and I had first started dating,
when I was diagnosed with cancer, it felt like my whole world came tumbling down.
Patient Advocate Foundation is here for you, providing free one-on-one practical support to patients with a cancer diagnosis. Call us at 800-532-5274. Patient Advocate Foundation can assist in navigating disability benefits and health insurance options. PAF also helps in accessing vital services, medications, and financial resources for both medical and household expenses. Visit patientadvocate.org or call 800-532-5274.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
And even though we went to the same school, like every single night he would call me and we would talk on the phone for like 2 hours. We would play songs off of CDs and sing them to each other.
And that, yeah.
Like that was in 2008, so I totally get that. But like, it's weird. It's super weird that she broke up with her boyfriend who she bought a house with within a few days of starting to talk to Travis.
But you know what? I think that has more to do with the fact that she's sitting here thinking, I am with some 40-year-old old dude, and I am a young, beautiful, because she's full of herself, of course. I am a young, beautiful woman, and Travis is a young, beautiful guy, and he and I will have the just most amazing, young, beautiful relationship, So, like, I think she just went home and looked at it and was like, this guy is 40 freaking years old. What the hell am I doing with this guy,
I think she had a little bit of OCD as well, and I haven't seen anything to back that up. That's just my personal opinion. But I think that when she jumped from him, from her boyfriend to Travis, I think it was more of like an obsessive move. Like, oh my gosh, I got to be with him. So I'm going to just jump to him now. And that's just with her need to be with somebody, just in her background. I think that's just something in her background that she compulsively does. So yes. I don't know that it was even a thought process for her. I think she couldn't help herself.
Yeah, I mean, well, she definitely shows a lot of tendencies of obsession, even, OCD, but also just obsession in general. She is very obsessed with the men and people. And she even Kirk talks about this in his time with her as her defense attorney, of how obsessed she was with him, and she would call him all hours of the night and do all different things, and and she was just a crazy lunatic while he was trying to represent her too, and she just became obsessed with things. So I definitely think she has that type of personality, but So what happens is Travis and her find a love of traveling. So they begin to travel together to different states. And this is one of the major things that they have in common. Both Travis and Jodi, they love to travel, and she would document every trip they took together through her photography, which, okay, that's normal. I understand that. But the amount of pictures that she took and just, it was like selfie after selfie after selfie after selfie with him, and it just, even some of those, I look at the pictures and I think, man, she has this look in her eye that is just, it's not love. It is complete obsession.
Right. And I think it's almost like in that stalker-ish potential zone
where which it ends up being.
Right. And so she wants to be with this dude, and they'll live together. So I'm going to take 1,000 and some photos so that I can always stare at his face.
Right. And, there's signs all along the way that this was not going to be a fairy tale, we ride off into the sunset and live happily ever after. There are signs all along, but she obviously does not take these signs,
Nope.
And I think Travis just kind of looked at her as like I said earlier, a slice on the side, she's the strange on the side for now. I'll travel with her. I'll throw a shot into her once in a while. We'll have amazing sex because it's been said that they had some freaky deaky sex, and then I'm going to settle down and she's going to leave. And I don't think he ever thought that was going to be more than that. Now, I mean, there is some different things that happen. So they were this young, attractive couple and they enjoyed each other's company, but there was somewhat of a moral dilemma for them because according to Jodi, she and Travis became pretty sexually intimate only a week after they met. So in the Mormon church, premarital sex is supposed to be completely off the table. And Travis was, a devout Mormon. And I think he really struggled with this. I think the depravity came from earlier in his childhood of things that were kind of hardwired into him. And he struggled with that because he wanted to be the good Mormon guy. But I think there were some really kind of things that were just hardwired that came from being in that abusive situation early on. And we don't know what his mother did or didn't do. There could have been all kinds of things that set that into motion in his mind. But
and he's a young guy, and especially young religious guys, their bodies want them to do what they want to do, but his heart and mind were like, no, religion.
Right.
But
that's why a lot of them get married early because their bodies are hormonal and they're doing the things that they're supposed to do. And in their 20s, guys, that's their peak. Women don't peak until our 40s. Men peak in their 20s. That is the peak of their sexual, exploration. Yeah. So I definitely think it was a struggle for him.
Right. So Jodi now also became a Mormon, which to me, no, she is not Mormon quality.
Not at all.
She was officially baptized into the religion on November 26, 2006, just a couple months after meeting Travis. Then Travis oversaw the baptism ceremony, and Jodi admitted that she converted religions to make her bond with Travis even stronger. And in February of 2007, they made their relationship official. And, choosing a religion after a few months of dating somebody, that's so extreme. And people... like in the Jewish faith, like it's a long process to get, your religion changed, and there's courses you have to take and prove that you are ready to do that. And because a lot of times, people of the Jewish faith, their family says you can only marry another Jewish person.
Right. I actually, my best friend's sister, so I was like the guest book attendant in high school. We were in high school when they got married because she was quite a bit older than my friend. And, I was the guest book attendant. She bought me this beautiful dress and everything, made me feel really special. It was super nice because I've always been like a really big part of their family. Like they're my second family. And so his sister's husband that she was marrying was Jewish and she was Catholic. So she had to actually sign like a document at the wedding that was witnessed by the parents and the rabbi and everything, saying that she would agree to raise the children that they had Jewish.
Yep.
Yeah.
No.
So I mean, it does happen, and it happens a lot, but not like this. This is
No,
insane.
not quick.
She did this solely because she knew that's what he wanted, and I think that that's all she was seeing. She thought, well, if I do this, then he'll love me, and we'll get married and run off into the sunset. And I still think maybe he was trying to do that. Maybe he thought, okay, well, great. If I baptize her into the Mormon faith, then we'll have something in common, and we'll share in this religious experience as well together. And maybe she will, maybe I can marry her and have a great, life with her. But it wasn't going to happen, So
no.
Even though they attempted to be good Mormons, they did still have a sexual relationship, which is a problem. And this weighed heavily on Travis because he wanted to be a moral man and follow the law of chastity. But as we said before, he was also a healthy young man with sexual urges, and easier said than done. Once you have it, it's one thing if you're denying yourself and possibly, you can kind of, you don't know what you don't know until so maybe if he had not been partaking in sexual activities with Jodi to begin with, maybe he might have been able to continue to walk down that road of, a chaste man. But because he had it, nah.
Right, you have it once, can't stop.
Yeah, once you have that and you feel that, geez.
Right, and it's a totally natural thing. It's like we said, young man. That's it's his body wanted it, and you're gonna do what you're gonna do.
Right.
But so different accounts of the relationship give different time frames. But it seems that if Jodi and Travis' official relationship lasted for less than 6 months. So again, the whole breaking up with your boyfriend that you bought a house with together, then changing your religion, and you're there with each other for about 6 months. And in that time they spent together, they traveled, Jodi met Travis's friends, and they even talked about marriage.
Right. Like I said, I think that was his, he's like, okay, I've got to stop what I'm doing. So how do I do that? All right, I'll baptize her in the Mormon faith. We'll get married. Everything will be great. But I'm sure that he saw just things along the way, because how could you not? She's such a strange wackadoo. There had to be warning signs along the way. And so Travis let Jodi know exactly what he was looking for in a wife. He wanted a wholesome woman, a good Mormon woman that shared his goals and ideals that he would marry and spend his life with. And while Jodi thought that having sex with Travis would deepen their connection, it was actually lessening her chances of Travis wanting to marry her, because she's not the wholesome woman, If she had just stopped, said, okay, that's it. We've decided to make this commitment. I've now become Mormon. We can't do this anymore until we are married. I don't feel comfortable with it now. I want to be exactly what the Mormon woman should be. If she had done that, I think maybe there would have been a bigger
100%.
chance. But she didn't. She thought that, we're still having sex, and that is keeping him entertained and interested. And instead, it was really pushing him away.
Yeah, I think this is one of the times where she was real confident, I'm going to keep him hooked. He's not going anywhere, and I'm going to be the one he marries because he can't resist me, pretty much.
Right.
Because I think she was very used to using that part of her to get what she wanted and keep what she wanted. And I think when it didn't work with Travis, it was like a huge blow. I think.
Yeah, and I think I'm surprised there wasn't a pregnancy scare, or because lots of women who think that are like, oh, sex is the way to keep him. Oh, if we have a baby together, it's the way to keep him. And I'm surprised because that would have been the classic thing. I mean, seriously,
right? That is a big thing that I think she would have done. Maybe they weren't long enough together for her to figure that out. But there would totally be oh my God, I'm pregnant now. We have to get married, and you're gonna be with me forever.
Yeah.
Crazy eyes. And
she does have crazy eyes. She does.
Yeah. But so before long, Travis realized that Jodi wasn't who he wanted for his future wife, and he ended the right. And so he ended the relationship in June 2007. Now, remember, Jodi and Travis lived in different states, but after they broke up, Jodi decided to move to Arizona.
Red flag.
Right, you broke up. Why are you moving closer to your ex? Just why?
Jodi, isn't it usually the opposite? Like you move to be together and then the breakup, it's like, you know what, I'm going back home.
Move the hell out? Right. You move the hell away? Right. No, now you're going the opposite direction, honey. And so she continues to offer Travis this friends with benefits type of situation. That is not going to make you his wife, girlfriend. But anyway, and he continues to accept the offer. Well, you know, it's like that thing, like if you dangle meat in front of the rabid dog, they're going to eat it, you know? Like,
well, right, especially like they know he's not going to marry her now, so I don't have to save myself for her.
Right.
I'm not going to do it with the woman I'm going to marry.
Right.
But I'm not marrying that one, so I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
She's spoiled goods, folks. She is spoiled goods at this point, you know. You know, it's that old saying, like, why should you buy the cow when the milk is free? Like, you know, that's what he's going after. Like, nope, I already got your milk, honey. I ain't got to buy you, you know?
Yes, so. 100%.
So Travis had broken up with Jodi and was telling his friends that he was done with her and didn't want her in his life anymore. But he continues to see Jodi and they continue to have sex. So Travis would try to break the cycle, but he found it difficult. Yeah, that happens when you have a stalker. And Jodi would do things like sneaking into Travis's house. She would take her clothes off and get into bed with him to entice him. And Travis just goes along with it. He's like, well, you're here, so I might as well. You know, like,
that's so
since you came here. Yeah.
That's so, like, you broke into his house and just lay on the bed waiting for him. Like, what if he came home with people? Like,
yeah, no,
you just naked lady on my bed.
No, even worse, just like imagine waking up and someone's in the bed with you. That wasn't like that.
That is creepy. Okay, so when I had just gotten out of high school, I had dated this guy, and I'm writing a show with Tori about this situation, kind of based loosely on this. And he was the best friend of my ex-boyfriend. And I don't know how it ended up, but we just ended up together for a little while. It was kind of just stupid. But he took me out with his parents to the lake, and then like the very next day broke up with me. And I was just like, because I wouldn't do things with him at that point. And it wasn't that I wouldn't do it at all. It just was, I wasn't feel comfortable doing it with him yet, you know? So he broke up with me. Well, then a few weeks later, he starts seeing my best friend. And I kept telling her he's only doing this because he is trying to hurt me in some way. And she didn't want to believe it. And I was like, I'm telling you, it really is. And so at the time, she is a junior or senior in high school, and she was like so enamored with the fact that this older boy was paying attention to her. Well, at one point in time, he sneaks into her house. He convinces the maid, who has never met him, by the way. So you have to think about, how did that conversation go down? He convinces the maid to let him in, and then he leaves roses all over her bed for her. And at the time, she was like, oh, that's so sweet. And I'm like, no. Oh, that's so creepy. And then she would show up in class, and he didn't go to the school or anything because he's out of school. She would show up in class, and he would have put something on her desk for one of her classes. And how did he get on campus? And how did he know what her schedule of school was? Like, she didn't tell him. He just knew. And so we thought about it later on, and we're like, that dude is super creepy. And he's super
stalker.
plasticky. Yes, super stalkery, super plasticky. Like, it was just such a weird situation, totally a creepy stalker like that. But she, at the time, she thought the same thing. She was like, oh, it's so sweet that he's doing these things. I'm like, no, it's super creepy that he's doing those things, honey.
Be warned, change the locks.
Right.
Security alarm.
Right. And she said when they broke up, he would still sit outside of her house and watch her. She would see his car sit up there.
That's so messed up.
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
So unnerving. You don't know who's stalking you.
Yeah. He would do the same thing at my house. He would sit at my grandparents and down the street from my grandparents and watch me. And I would be like, I'd see him and I'd wave at him. I was like, I see you. And he would then, the car would immediately leave.
Well, that's I covered it in, a recent live that I did, Patterson, who kidnapped Jamie Klaas, he saw her at a bus stop, and was like, yep, I'm going to kidnap her.
Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, Sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
And I'm going to stalk her
so
and I'm going to kidnap
strange.
her. Like,
That
just,
was such a strange thing.
like you don't know who's watching you. You don't know
Right.
who's stalking you.
Mm-mm.
And, you know, it gets messed up. But I guess the issue for me is that Travis was like willingly just letting his guard down to please his own inner demons.
Right,
and
I
just
guess.
allowing this to happen. But we're not thinking it was super messed up, I guess.
Right. And, you know, I mean, I understand. I think she probably in the end felt like he had misled her, and that she thought that maybe even though he said that there wasn't anything there, that his actions showed that there was. So, you know, she thought maybe eventually he would come to his senses, and she really probably felt slighted in the end of like, no, this guy seriously used me. But she did it herself. Like, you know,
Like if she just would have stopped having sex with him, probably would have been together.
maybe. I mean, I don't know. She's kind of crazy. Maybe he saw that.
Something between them definitely changed, because Travis used to tell people that Jodi was crazy but harmless. But then something was different. He wanted to end things with Jodi for good this time. No friends with benefits, no sexual contact at all. His friends think that Travis started to see the crazy side of Jodi, and maybe he started to realize that she wasn't as harmless as he once thought that she was.
Oh, really?
Oh, really? That's interesting. I mean, she's climbing into your bed through a window, dude. Seriously? Like, you didn't know she was cuckoo cuckoo?
Okay, but at the same time, I mean, he knew she was climbing in his window, so why was his window left unlocked?
Right.
You know?
Yes.
I mean, he told all of his friends, you know, she's crazy, I'm done with this. But he didn't stop things in ways that he could have. So
Very
on one
complicit.
hand, he didn't deserve to be murdered. Absolutely not. And she is crazy. I believe that. But he's kind of to blame for some of the craziness that was going on.
Yes.
You know?
He was very
he was a willing participant.
Very complicit. Very complicit, you know.
You know.
Oh, right. You just, you know, whatever happens. You know, I'm not going to lock the window. If she comes in, I'm going to do it with her. But if she doesn't, I'm not, you know, crying up at night about it.
Right. And then he would turn around and tell his friends, oh, she's crazy. She climbed in my window. Dude, why didn't the friend say, well, lock your window?
Well, okay, these roommates to me, and we're going to talk about this later, these roommates to me are super strange and very suspicious, let me tell you, because they went for 5 days with a dead body in their freaking house and didn't know. Like, are you serious? Are you serious?
Right. Well, they blamed it on being bachelors and the fact that they thought food went rotten.
Give me a break.
Well, the minute you smell the rotten food, do you not go try to clean out your fridge and find the smell? Because I would have.
I guess we know why they were bachelors.
Right.
well, and we've said that before. Like, there's a difference between the smell of rotting food and a dead body.
Definitely.
Are you sure the roommate wasn't Cindy Anthony?
Right, like, oh, moldy pizza, dead toddler.
Right,
You know,
like, yeah, no.
Moldy sandwich,
like I
dead
forgot
friends.
that my husband had bought a pack of chicken and it was in the fridge and I didn't know it was there. I can't stand that after like a day or two. And I'm like,
yes.
But a dead body for 5 days? There's no way I could have overlooked that smell.
No, absolutely not. The chicken thing that you're talking about, Tori, that happened in our house too. Like there was a chicken tenders that we had bought, like, you know, in a pack, not cooked yet.
Right, right.
it got shoved to the back of the fridge. And for days, I was like, what is that effing smell? Where is it? Take out the trash. Clean your room. Are there dishes anywhere? I'd open the fridge and like look around. I'm like, what is that smell? Like there is no way that you would have thought that a dead body rotting in a shower was just gross, moldy chicken. No.
Or that you just let it go and don't try to find the smell because, hey, it's not my chicken.
I mean, wouldn't you like walk around the house going, where is that smell?
Why is it coming out of the bathroom?
It's funny how the smell is stronger near the bedrooms, but it must be rotten chicken in the fridge. It must be rotten chicken in the fridge because, what else could it be? Even though the smell is stronger down the hallway, let's ignore that fact.
Maybe it's if you've never smelled something dead before, whether it's an animal, a person, whatever. Because even Mimi and the two friends that entered the house, they said they smelled something, but they were thinking maybe it was the dog. And I'm like,
okay, but I'm sorry. Okay, they live in freaking Arizona, okay? I lived in Arizona. You do not live in Arizona and never have smelled dead things on the side of the road. Let me tell you, it is hotter than hell and things get heated up when they die and there is stuff dying all the freaking time. So there's no way that I can believe that they had never smelled something like that, like death rotting.
Okay, but they also said, and to Christina's point, that they didn't know if maybe it was the dogs or something. And I understand that. You see signs of dogs that are abandoned. They hadn't heard from him in 5 days. So if the dog is left alone, no food, no way to be taken outside, a dog doesn't eat, they can start to get sick. And so maybe they weren't sure if they were smelling dog poop or dog vomit or a mix, And so I could understand where they would question that since they hadn't heard from him in 5 days and they would assume that the dog hadn't been taken care of in just as many days.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
Again, what about the roommates? Were they just like, oh, there's a dog here and we haven't seen Travis. I'm not going to feed him. Travis will feed him when he gets back.
Right?
Well, and like it's the preface, like if you smell something's up, literally smell something's up, you figure out what that smell is and fix it. You don't just be like, well, I don't know. It stinks really, really bad in here, but it's fine.
Let's just spray some Febreze. Let's go on with our lives.
Knowing bachelor boys that are probably spraying Axe or Tag body spray, like. But like that was to say, they said, oh well, we're just bachelors, there could be just food. What food is in your fridge that's rotting? If you're a bachelor, you don't cook for crap. Like, what's going on in your fridge if you think that's the case? What are there moldy Doritos? What?
But anyway,
you know what? Years ago, I did date somebody, and he had several roommates. And when he brought me over there for the first time, I thought there was like something dead in the house. And when we walked through the kitchen, I realized, I'm like, okay, this is disgusting. I can't come back here. And I'm like, what is going on here? And he's like, that's not my mess. I eat takeout and I take my garbage out. And I'm like, oh, so you're just okay with living with this? I mean, there were flies and everything. That was the reason we stopped dating, but I'm like, how, literally flies buzzing around the kitchen and food that was left God knows how long on a plate just sitting there, and you could tell it's rotted. And I'm like, oh God. My first thought walking in was, is there something dead in here? Like, did you guys hide a body? And he's like, no, that's my dirty ass roommates. And I'm like, oh my God.
Oh my God, that's insane. Well, anyway, Travis goes around telling everybody that it's really over this time, and he actually begins to move on with his life. So he's including dating other women. In April 2008, Jodi moves back to Wairika, and Travis felt like life was going to be so much easier for him with her gone, because out of sight, out of mind, right? So especially keeping in good standing with his church. And at this time, Mimi, the girl who found him, he had wanted to date her, and she kind of turned him down at one point. There's another girl that, was scared off by Jodi and her crazy emails and stuff. I mean, it was just craziness, but at least he was thinking, okay, she's gone now, and I can go on with my life, right? And she's gone. I won't have to have this temptation at my arm's length all the time, you know? So.
But again, he didn't change his phone number. He didn't block her phone number. He didn't tell his roommates, hey guys, maybe we should move, or, you know, nothing. I mean,
didn't file a police report, you know, on the
police
breaking
report,
into his house.
Nothing to stop her from coming back around. He continued conversations with her.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah,
that's not a guy who's happy to be free of some crazy woman.
Right.
True.
You know, and I think that that's something that a lot of guys say, you know, they'll be like, oh God, my ex is a crazy bitch. Right. But then they go over to whatever, or pick up something, or they've got kids together, whatever. And it's like, oh, but I'm still going to throw a shot in her when, you know, even though she's crazy, and I know she's crazy, and I've told everyone that she's crazy, I still might let her be in my bed. Like, you know, I mean, it just, guys use that too often of that.
Right, it's
an
excuse. 1000%. Like, so Tim and I, starting dating in 8th grade, we had several periods in high school where we would break up, and he would say the same thing. She's crazy. She's nuts. She's not pretty. Yeah. Like, but then like 2 months later, be like, who's texting me? Who's calling me? Oh, we're back. Okay. Yeah. I knew you'd be back.
My oldest daughter had a guy on and off all through high school that did that to her. Like, he would break up with her the day before the weekend so that he could go out and do whatever he wanted on the weekend and not have to have her tag along because his friends didn't really care for her, you know, and then he'd get back together with her. But always, oh, she's crazy. She's a nut. Oh my God, I can't believe her. She's just blah, blah. And then the next day is like, oh, hey, sweetie, I'm so sorry. You're right. I miss you. Let's get together. Let's. It was like, and he just yo-yoed her constantly, you know. And I'm not saying that's an excuse. Like, I am not excusing Jodi Arias in any way, but to be a yo-yo on a string like this, and to really not understand that, why is he sleeping with me if he doesn't love me? Why is he allowing me into his home if he doesn't love me? Why is he going on trips with me if he doesn't love me? You know, so I'm sure she kept thinking, eventually he's going to come to his senses and we're going to get together and it's going to be wonderful and great for the rest of our lives. Like, I truly believe she thought that.
Well, especially that, you know, she did things for him to be with him, and she's used to getting the attention of men, and for him to not want to be with her all the way, I bet she was just trying to, you know, how do I get him to love me? I tried using my body and it didn't work. I tried becoming his religion and it didn't work. You know, what do I have to do to make him love me?
Yes, exactly. So in the beginning, Travis's friends really liked Jodi. They were impressed by this, you know, what they call a beautiful professional young woman that appeared pretty together and just like Travis. And so she seemed like a great fit for him. She seemed like she had goals and, you know, she wanted to be successful, and they liked traveling together and everything. So it wasn't long though before they saw a side of Jodi that they didn't like. She wasn't just in love with Travis. They said she was obsessed with him. There were times that she would get angry if he spoke to any other woman, and not like flirting, just like a regular conversation. Like, he had to talk to the lady at work to like do whatever. Why are you talking to her? You know? So, and one time, a couple of friends, the Hugheses, were speaking privately to Travis, and Jodi was eavesdropping outside of their bedroom room, and they found her behavior to be extremely strange. No shit, really? Really?
Right. And it's just classic behavior of wanting to be way too involved and obsessing. Like, what is he going to say? What is he going to say behind this door? Oh, what? Are you talking about me? What is there something? Is he saying to them what he wants me to do and I can hear, and then I'll do what he wants me to do? And just constantly being obsessed with this boy. And they also knew that Travis took his religion seriously, and it bothered his friends that Jodi attempted to be overly affectionate with Travis in front of them. If they were all hanging out, Jodi would hang all over Travis and make it known that they were involved sexually.
That is such a classic move. Like, you know, the girl that you're all sitting around the table and the girl comes up behind and like she puts her arm like over you and around you and puts her head on your shoulder to show like the other people in the room, he is mine. He is mine. He is mine.
Yeah, yes. I was just going to say, it's like an ownership thing.
Yes. So there came a point where it went when it went from them not liking Jodi to thinking Jodi was crazy and really possibly dangerous. And Jodi's behavior had escalated after she realized that it was really over between her and Travis. So Jodi emails, and this is what I was talking about before, Jodi emails a woman that Travis had been seeing, saying vile things in the email, accusing her of being a whore and threatening her. She spied on him. She set off the burglar alarm when he had female company. She hacked into his email and bank account. She would sneak in his house, the doggy door, and he would wake up to find her sleeping on the couch. Creepy. But still, he doesn't file a freaking police report or do something about it. He just deals with it. I don't know. She would call, text, and send emails and handwritten letters to Travis over and over. And it really seemed like she would never let go of Travis. And it started to really scare him and his friends. But still, he does nothing. No one does anything.
To me, that's insane. Like hacking his emails, threatening people, sneaking in through a dog door.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
And I know there was a point where his tires were slashed and he did file a police report, but when he spoke to the police, he never told them that he believed it was Jodi. And I don't know if that was him trying to protect her, like, I just want her to stop. I don't want her to go to jail for this. And maybe that's why he didn't say, well, I'm pretty sure I know who it was. It was my ex-girlfriend. But I don't know. I don't know if there was that sympathy for her. Like, I know, like you said, she feels slighted because of the relationship we had. So I understand she's probably acting a little crazy right now. So I'm guessing there was that sympathy or
guilt. Maybe he felt guilty,
possibly,
for leading her on in some ways. But the thing is like, still, they don't do anything. They don't take any action. If a girl ends up crawling through my doggy door and I find her asleep on my couch, I'm calling the police.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to be like, oh, Jodi, don't do that anymore. Like,
oh, hey, you're here. Let's, I got something this morning. Let's see if we can take care of this.
Yeah, right? Like, yeah, exactly. And, when she gets questioned by the police, when she is brought in for interrogation, they do talk to her about this bank account thing. And she had a habitual lying problem, because I'm telling you, for everything that the police said, whether it made sense or not, she had an answer. And I mean an answer like that. It wasn't like she had to, I don't know. No. They would say, well, but Jodi, what about that? And she goes, oh, well, we were sharing bank accounts at the time, and we had the same email passwords because that was a way of us being trustworthy to each other. And we were trying to da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But then he decided he didn't want to do it anymore, so I changed my password immediately, but I'm not sure when he changed his. But I mean, seriously, the stories were in depth, like, and without missing a freaking beat.
That's crazy.
It was.
It's absolutely insane.
All right, guys, well, we've talked a little bit about how they get into this relationship, the stalking behavior, but what's coming up next, we're going to talk about the murder.
Don't go anywhere. The Good Wives will be right back. So you often hear and see us Good Wives sipping a glass of wine. And one of our favorite wine clubs is California Wine Club. California Wine Club only works with small wineries, and they hand select 2 bottles of wine each month and ship them straight to your door. Now, you don't even have to go to the liquor store to have a sip of bubbly with us. How cool is that? We absolutely love hearing from our listeners, and we'd like to invite you to send us a question for us to answer or a case you'd like us to cover. You can drop us an email at goodwivesdish@gmail.com, and we might feature it in one of our next episodes and give you a shout out. Right now, we are also hosting our #LoveWins Scholarship Fund. If you're a college-age student who would like to enter, send us a 30-second video telling us about how you lead with love. Email your entry to us with a little bio about yourself and your educational goals. And if you'd like to learn more about our hashtag Love Wins campaign for peace, merchandise, or donation details, go check out our informational video on youtube.com/murderbydesign. We look forward to hearing from you.
So on June 9th, 2008, when Mimi Hall and her two friends go to Travis's house, they knocked on the door for a while. And when Travis didn't answer, didn't come to the door, Mimi called another one of Travis's friends who gave her the code to his garage door, and they entered the home. They found Travis's bedroom door locked, and they began to call his name, but there was still no response. So think, we're in June here. So 5 days in June in Arizona, imagine the smell.
Yes, exactly. And so they went to one of the other bedroom doors and knocked. And it's strange. He didn't hear them knocking at all or anything like that. But I guess maybe if he's upstairs, maybe he didn't hear it. But it just seems strange to me that he didn't hear them knocking either, or didn't even hear the garage door open. Like anywhere in my house, if there was I've had houses that were 2 stories, had garages. Anytime there was a garage door that opened, I would hear it. There is no way that I'd just be like, I don't know what's going on down there. Somebody's entering my house. Oh, none of my roommates are here. My other roommate is supposed to be in Cancun. What is going on? Who's in my house? Nope, he doesn't even think that. So they go over there, they knock on his bedroom door, and the bedroom belonged to one of Travis's roommates, Zach Billings. So Zach was in his room watching a movie, and he says he didn't hear them, and he came out of his room, and Mimi and the others asked where Travis was. So Zach replied that he thought Travis went to Cancun, and he confirmed that he and Travis's other roommate, Enrique Cortez, hadn't seen Travis in almost a week. And so then when Zach opens the door to the master bedroom, the odor was even worse. No shit, really?
Right, June in Arizona.
Right? And he goes inside and he finds Travis's naked body crumpled up in the shower, and there was blood everywhere. And he walked out of Travis's room and said, "Call 911. Travis is dead."
I mean, that's got to be so heartbreaking. But I mean, at least they, backed out and didn't touch things. Did a smart choice there. So
right.
Mimi made the call, and Zach spoke with his dispatcher. Travis's friends immediately suspected that his ex-girlfriend Jodi was responsible. One of them even mentioned Jodi during the 911 call. Detective Esteban Flores, who is coincidentally also a Mormon, arrived at Travis's home just after midnight with the Maricopa County Deputy Attorney Juan Martinez. The two walked through the crime scene and looked at the body. They noted all the blood everywhere, including a bloody palm print on the wall. There were also areas that looked as if someone had tried to clean them up. They determined that Travis's body had been in the shower for a while and appeared to have been rinsed off.
Yeah, and see, Flores, okay, so one of the things is Juan Martinez in Arizona, the deputy attorneys there are called out to the crime scenes immediately so that they can walk and understand them from the very beginning. It's not like the police do the investigation and then hand it over to the district attorney. That's not what they do here. They bring them out right away so that they can look at the scene in real time, and kind of get a feel for it from the very beginning, and they work very closely together to kind of work the case. But you said, that there was areas that were kind of cleaned up, but Juan Flores describes it as the home's first floor was immaculate and nothing seemed out of place, except that there was only one item out of place, and it was the steam vacuum cleaner, which had been left standing in the middle of the living room floor. So let me give you an idea here. So we've got a huge smell coming, but your house has been cleaned? For 5 days, you didn't notice that your house was cleaned and there is a smell? What the hell? Like, I'm sorry. What the ever-loving hell? Now, my house totally smells. That's odd. The steam cleaner is out and it looks like someone cleaned our house. What?
Right, like, that's the thing. Like, where is the smell coming from? Why aren't you looking? The house is clean. What is there? Why is there a smell? Like, it would have made more sense if the entire house was complete disarray, garbage mess to distract from the smell. It would make way more sense, like bachelors that are home is disgusting and, it stinks in here because they are boys. But spotless freaking house.
Okay, and wait, here's some more stuff. So this I'm getting this from the book Conviction by Juan Martinez, guys, by the way. It says, so at the top of the stairs, landing on the right, there was a makeshift home theater with beanbag chairs, a big screen TV and DVD player, a projector, movie posters on the wall, and nothing there was disturbed, although there was a camera case lying next to one of the beanbag chairs. The camera itself was missing. So then he says the first thing he noticed when he walked in was that the room felt cold. The air conditioner had been set to the mid-70s, making the room seem chilly compared to the heat outside. And the king-size bed in the center of the room had been stripped bare. There were no sheets or comforter, and a white mattress cover was balled up in the middle of the bed, and light streamed in through 2 windows on either side of the bed. So, I mean, it was clean. It was cold. Like, your roommates don't notice it's cold, or did they have like air conditioning units in each room? I mean, that is common in Arizona. The air conditioning units, a lot of times they don't have them in the whole house. It's like a swamp cooler in different rooms because of the just vast humidity and how hard air conditioners have to work to cool. But I mean, it just seems like this would have been noticeable to people. I don't know. It just seems really strange to me that none of them noticed a damn thing.
Yeah.
So, well, then the medical examiner came and took Travis's body to be examined further, and Mesa police officers looked over the home for hair and fingerprints, and there was a .25 caliber bullet casing found in the blood on the floor. And Travis's bedding had been stripped, and there was no signs of forced entry. So Travis's roommates were questioned about the bad odor in the home, but being young single men, they just thought that something in the house was dirty and needed to be cleaned, but they didn't go looking for it, and they didn't think about the fact that the rest of the house had been cleaned. But,
of course not.
They never even considered that there was a dead body in the house with them for days. I mean, I understand that's not a first thought process. I don't think anybody would just be like, oh, that smells like a dead body. I wonder if somebody's dead in the house. Okay, I understand that maybe that wouldn't be your first thought, but these are things that should have been noticeable. My house is clean. The thing is out. There's a horrible bad smell, but, I'm just going to ignore it.
Well, and there are other, circumstances. Like, Travis was supposed to be out of town, but nobody's heard from him. That he has a crazy stalker ex-girlfriend who has been known to come into the house uninvited. That, just so many other situations. And just, there are a lot of reasons why they should have at least thought something was up. Like, even if they didn't think that he was dead, at least something. Like, it's been 5 days and you haven't checked in with your roommate?
Okay, well, listen to this. It's been 5 days, and when the police get there, they went to the home and they find towels in the washing machine along with the digital camera. That means for 5 days, nobody in that house did laundry. And again, that could have accounted for some smell too. You would have gone and been like, the laundry room stinks. What is going on in here? Because you know what mildewy, dewy, towels smell like. They start to rot a day or two in. It's been 5 days. You would have smelled that and been like, oh God, what's going on in here? Let me go turn on the washing machine again. Why the hell is there a camera in here? And then maybe you would have questioned some other things. But no, nobody even does laundry in this 5 days apparently, because nobody finds it, but the police do. So Detective Flores and Juan Martinez needed to know what was on that camera. So they believed it was put through the wash to destroy it, and therefore the contents must be key to figuring out who killed Travis Alexander, and they were. And luckily, the memory card inside the camera seemed to be intact, even though the camera itself was waterlogged. So they sent the memory card to the forensics lab to see if any photos could be retrieved from it.
So while waiting to find out what was on the memory card, Detective Flores got a call from Jodi Arias. She told him that she had heard about Travis's death and that there was a lot of blood. She said she wanted to offer her assistance and gave him her version of their relationship. She told Detective Flores that she moved back to California from Arizona in April of 2008, and that's the last time she saw Travis in person. She called the detective working the case of her ex-boyfriend's murder. Who she killed? I mean, who calls?
Well, I mean, you know who does? Deranged killers, because that is like,
return to the scene of the crime.
Right, and she had to know. Again, obsession. She needed to know what they knew. That's what she was trying to do with all this. She was trying to find out what they knew, because she even asks them, was there a weapon involved? Like, I heard there was a weapon involved. Like, was it a gun? And, he's like, well, I can't tell you that, but I can tell you, yes, there was something involved because there was a lot of blood. And she's like, oh, well, and she just started asking all these strange questions. Like, and she starts giving him all these long explanations that he doesn't ask for. And where have we heard that before about the fact that that's what people who are guilty start doing, many times.
100%.
Leticia Stout.
Every murder case. Like, oh, they weren't with me. Oh, they were with them. Oh, excuses.
Yeah, I think we learned that in the How to Catch a Liar lecture also.
Yeah, with Stephen from Oliphant Institute.
So Detective Flores also spoke to Chris and Sky Hughes. Chris worked with Travis and he was his role model. Travis wanted a marriage like Chris and Sky had. He really looked up to them. And when Flores spoke to them, he asked them if they had any idea who killed Travis. Both of them responded, yes, Jodi Arias. So by this point, Detective Flores was already looking at Jodi with a lot of interest. All of Travis's friends believed that Jodi was involved in Travis's murder as well. Detective Flores speaks to Jodi again, and she tells him that she ended the relationship with Travis because he was seeing a lot of other women, and he didn't have the same feelings for her as she had for him. So she said that in April 2008, she moved back in with her grandparents in Wairika, and she started fresh working as a server. And she said she hadn't seen Travis since she moved. So Jodi continues now speaking to Flores over the weeks after Travis passes away. And her story is just whatever she feels like telling him. It's listening to it is almost like, it was like the Jodi show. Like she was taking control. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. This is the truth. This is my version, and you're going to believe everything I say. And that's that.
Right. And it
this
keeps
is
changing.
so typical. Typical. Leticia Stout, Casey Anthony. Just, I'm going to tell you everything I want you to know, but not anything else.
No, but not anything real. I'm not going to tell you the truth. I'm just going to tell you the truth as I want you to see it. But in the meantime, this woman, Arias, is attending a memorial service for Alexander. She's writing a long sympathy letter to his grandmothers. She had flowers sent to his family, and she's posting loving messages about Alexander on her MySpace page. MySpace, God, I haven't heard of that.
Any assistance that she can to the investigators.
Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Yeah. Unbelievable. So Jodi continues to speak to Flores and told him that she last spoke to Travis on the phone on Monday, June 2nd, 2008 in the early morning. That was a week before his body was found. Jodi claimed that she left that day on a road trip to SLC, Utah. She was going to attend a prepaid legal convention and also see a guy that she knew, Brian Burns. And Jodi told Flores that she left Wairika on June 2nd, 2008, went to Southern California to visit with friends, and then arrived in Salt Lake City on June 5th, 2008, which she did. She did all of these things. But, well, I don't know if she went to Southern California, but she definitely did arrive in Salt Lake City on June 5th, but she was much later than she had said she was going to be. So Detective Flores calls Ryan Burns next to confirm Jodi's story. And Ryan said that Jodi arrived at his house at about 11 a.m. on June 5th, 2008. And Jodi seemed normal and happy, but Ryan was surprised to see that Jodi was now a brunette. And when he met her, she was a quote-unquote hot blonde. Ugh, so annoyed by this. She also had some cuts on her hands, and she told Ryan that she got them while she was bartending. These things bothered Detective Flores, but Jodi's alibi has held up so far, so she really was in Utah at the time she said she was, and not in Mesa. But remember, the camera that was found in the washing machine? Well, like we said, it was sent back to the forensics labs on June 9th, and the results were finally back. The lab was able to retrieve photos from the memory card, and on July 14th, 2008, Detective Esteban Flores hit the road and headed to Yreka, California on a road trip of his own. He went to speak to Jodi Arias in person, and he now knew for sure that Jodi had been lying to him for weeks, and he wanted to get a statement from her face to face. And it gets weirder from here.
Okay, I'm kind of surprised that she had 2 small cuts on her hands. How many stab wounds were there?
Oh God, so many.
27, I think they said. I don't know, it was a bunch, and all she had was 2 small little 2 little cuts on her hands. That is really surprising to me that she wasn't injured more, because the force it takes to go through with the stabbing, I'm surprised the knife didn't slip more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And a lot of times it happens from struggle, but I don't think he was struggling very much because I think she shot him first. So,
probably.
Yeah.
So just overkill, essentially.
Oh, God, yeah. Total overkill. Total. And she even slits his freaking throat. Like, oh, God. I mean, she was very angry, obviously. So, but on July 15th, 2008, Detective Flores sits down in this interview room in the Siskiyou? Okay. Flores sits down in an interview room in the Siskiyou County Sheriff's Office with Jodi Arias, and he begins to interrogate her, and I have to say he is very much the good cop. He allows Jodi to tell her little rambling story of how she got lost on the road trip and slept in her car, and she even draws him a freaking map! Like,
so ridiculous.
Crap!
So ridiculous. But so then Flores stops her and tells her that she had ample time to kill Travis and make it to Salt Lake City in time. He then starts to hit Jodi with the evidence against her, like her hair and bloody palm print in Travis's house. Jodi is adamant that there are explanations for the hair and the blood, and that she was nowhere near Travis's home when he was murdered. What explanations do you have why your bloody palm print is in his home next to his dead body?
What? She says it too, just like so nonchalant. Well, there's explanations for the hair and the blood. I mean, and I'm like, really? I don't think, I mean, hair, yeah, I shed everywhere, but I don't really think I've ever left bloody palm prints in anyone's home.
Right, it's not like, oh, I cut my hand and then that my handprint must have been stained on the wall for months since I didn't see him since April.
Understand, okay, this is where I have a real problem with this whole story, because like if she cleaned up with a steam cleaner the downstairs and she put the doggy gate up at the top of the stairs or whatever, so the dog couldn't get up or whatever to go looking for Travis or anything. She does all these different weird things, which I think it's odd, because the doggy gate was never at the top of the stairs. So if it was, people should have thought, hey, why is this here? But who knows? But she does all this stuff, but she doesn't even clean up like the bloody palm print. Like, you just leave a bloody palm print? You've steamed the freaking carpet, but you didn't clean up the bloody palm print?
Yeah, right, maybe did like a real half-assed job of cleaning.
I wondered if she couldn't do it after the fact, because I mean, she was obsessed with him. So I'm just wondering if like she took out all the rage, and maybe after she was done raging on him, she was like, oh, I can't look at his body or I'm going to be sick. So
because the body was in the bathroom and the handprint was down the hall. And
then she's an idiot.
And then she also washed his sheets, so she took the time to take the sheets off. Like, I just don't get it. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me that she cleans everything else up but leaves this bloody palm print. And I'm not saying it's not true. I absolutely believe it is. It's just an odd thing. Like, she just didn't even bother to do that. Like, I don't know. So that's when Flores pulls out his big guns. He tells Jodi that he has pictures. And you know how Nancy Grace always yells, bombshell? Well, these pictures were a mega bombshell. And he asks Jodi if she wants to see the pictures, and she tells him, yeah, I'm curious. I was like,
God.
oh my God. She's like, yeah, I'm curious to see them. And I was like, are you serious? Oh my God. And then, so he shows her the pictures, and she asked if Travis is naked in the shower, and she said he would never go for that. I guess she meant Travis would never go for someone taking photos of him in the shower, but that was just part of her bullshit story that she wasn't there. Oh,
well, and that's so sick. Like that. Oh yeah, I'm curious. Like, Jodi, we know that you have a passion for photography. Oh, and you're missing a camera. And oh, you took the photos.
Well, here's the other thing. Again, if she is a quote unquote professional photographer, she left high school to become a professional photographer. No, bitch, you're a freaking server. But she's not a professional photographer. But she does know her way around a camera, obviously. So I don't understand why she would have just thrown the camera in the washing machine. That's an odd thing. Why would she not have pulled that SD card? Like, anyone who knows anything would know if she had just taken that SD card. I'm gonna tell you what, guys, if that camera had not had the pictures, there would have been no way for them to prove that Jodi did this. So her leaving that camera behind without pulling the SD card is really strange to me. Like, these things are strange.
I remember at the time it happened, there was a theory that when she stripped the bed, she didn't realize that the camera was mixed in with, tangled up in the sheets. And then she may have been in like panic mode by that point and was like, I can't find this camera. I got to get out of here, because she knew he had roommates. So there was a theory at that point. She may have been so panicked that she thought she did enough to, to keep the eyes off of her, but she couldn't find that camera, which would make sense why it was in the wash. They took it as it was put through the wash on purpose. But I remember back then it was talked about a lot that she didn't realize that camera was tangled up in the sheets.
That makes a lot more sense to me, because I'm thinking, why would she take these pictures if she wasn't going to take it with her?
Yeah, you would.
It doesn't make any sense.
Those pictures of them, that was just like documenting everything. So you would think she would want those pictures.
So all the photos were time-stamped at around 5:30 p.m. on June 4th, 2008. There were also photos of Jodi and Travis in bed before the shower photos were taken, and the detective basically told her exactly what he believed happened. She had sex with Travis in his bed, then they went into the bathroom and had a photo shoot where she took these artistic photos of Travis in the shower before she murdered him. But Jodi said that photos can be altered or tampered with, and she was still denying that she was at Travis's house when he was killed.
So stupid.
Photos
it's just a normal...
Photos can be tampered, but not the SD card that they pulled it off of.
Right. It's not like, they found an SD card that, she could it was in the camera still. Camera. This is not like a super professional camera. This is just a camera. And it's 2008.
This is one of the many times I wanted to reach through the screen and slap her. She's like, I don't know if timestamps can be altered, but I mean, I'm assuming they can be. Like, bitch, you know exactly what the hell is going on here. Shut the hell up.
It's like when you're caught, dude. You're just digging in.
But like you said, it's like she doesn't miss a beat. She just flows with it. There's never like a second where she stops and says, let me think about how it's just like flowing. She just has, like you said, an answer for everything, and it makes you want to choke her.
Yeah. And in the answers, if you took the answers out of the situation, they would be somewhat logical, except for the tampering of the timestamps. That one didn't make sense. But everything else that she said were logical explanations for things. I mean, it was so quick. And it's not like she could have just it's not like they came in and she told her story from start to finish and that was it. These are questions that she wouldn't have been prepared one way or the other for. And she just, not even like an upward eye roll or anything to think about. She just blurts out these answers. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. So then Detective Flores reminds Jodi that the camera was accidentally taking pictures and showed her a picture of herself standing next to Travis's dead body. So then she begins to cry, and she denies that it is her in the picture. And Jodi stuck to her story and refused to admit that she was in Travis's house on June 4th, 2008 when he was murdered.
What an idiot.
Yeah,
What an
goes
idiot.
on and on. Goes on and on. And Detective Flores then read Jodi her rights and placed her under arrest for the murder of Travis Alexander. He then explained to Jodi that she will be booked and photographed, and she starts to cry and calls herself shallow, and then she asks if she can clean herself up a little bit before they book her, and Flores tells her she will be taken exactly how she is, and I'm going to admit that my petty self enjoys that moment. Like, seriously, like, screw you, you don't get to look good for your picture, bitch. This ain't one that you're freaking getting to, doll yourself up for.
Right, you're not the one attractive guy who's like, this is the hottest photo of somebody being booked in jail. Like, you're not going to be that person.
The smirk on her face when they take this photo is so uncanny. And we've talked about this in so many of these women cases where, Evelyn Boswell's mom, Maggie, smirking. Leticia Stout, smirking. Casey Anthony, smirking. And our favorite right now, the Vallow, who is always smirking. It's just, it makes me want to smack them.
They're just guilty faces.
Well, when Detective Flores leaves Jodi alone in the interview room for a few minutes, her behavior gets even weirder. So she's barefoot, and she does that infamous headstand. And then she sits back down and she starts singing "Oh Holy Night." And then she starts like talking to herself and mumbling, and she says something like, "You're a brat." And then they take her and they bring her for the booking photo, and she asks the officer there how her hair looked. And then she smiled for the camera when they took the photo. So she's just like...
Stan, what is the handstand about? I don't understand.
I think she was pleading insanity defense. Like,
I really think that might have been what she was thinking, was like, I know she anybody who knows anything knows those interrogation rooms are recorded. And yes. I think they usually tell you that when they come in, maybe not. I don't know. I can't remember if they do or they don't, but at least most people know. I mean, if you've watched Law and Order, you know, okay? If you've watched any true crime whatsoever ever in your entire life, you know that those places are recorded. So maybe you're right. Maybe that's what she was thinking, was like an insanity defense, because, hey, I'm just going to pop over here, take this headstand and start singing and then talk to myself like I'm talking to another person in the room. Maybe that's what it is.
She have been just doing yoga or something because she was just relaxed and calm and just in her zone?
No. She walks over and like just flips herself up onto the wall.
I saw the video, but could she have just been looking for something to do because she was not at all concerned? I mean,
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think it's some weird shit and thing.
It's so weird and uncanny. But we've seen, criminals do weird things in the interrogation room. Cough, cough, Gypsy Blanchard.
Oh my God, laying on the floor.
And like, it's June and she's like singing "Oh Holy Night," like this,
right? Like, it's not Christmas.
Like, you're barely, I would not even call you religious. Like,
and what really bothers me, guys, is that's my absolute favorite Christmas song. And that's like, because I don't like Christmas songs very much because I did 20 years of retail management, so I'm not a big Christmas song fan. I only allow my kids to play it 2 times during the season, and that is while we decorate the tree and while we open presents. But "Oh Holy Night" is like my absolute favorite. I can listen to it all the time. I love it. And now I'm like, Jodi Arias. Damn it.
I like the Latin version of Veni Veni Emmanuel. I love the Latin version.
Yeah, that's a pretty one too. But yeah, I just now I'm associating my favorite Christmas song with this stupid bitch.
Yeah.
So the next day, Jodi's interrogation continued with a female detective. They thought maybe Jodi would relate to her more, open up, and give her some information that she wouldn't give Detective Flores. So the female detective approaches Jodi as a motherly figure, very gentle and understanding, but Jodi wasn't buying it. She's not cooperative at all. And so when the detective asked Jodi if she preferred to speak to Detective Flores instead, guess what she says? Yes. She uses the excuse that he was in touch with Travis's family as why she wanted to speak to him. No! You know why she thinks she wants to speak to the male cop? Because she thinks that she can manipulate him like she's manipulated all the other guys in her freaking life. Give me a break. Stupid bitch. Anyway, Detective Flores returns to the interview room, and he wanted a confession and knew that to get one, he needed Jodi to really open up to him. So he continues the interrogation, and if you're already thinking Jodi is a narcissistic psychopath, wait till you hear what happens next.
Don't go anywhere. The Good Wives will be right back. Every great podcast needs a great website. Currently, our mother company, Mad Ginger Entertainment, is building their website using Bluehost. Bluehost is one of the best and most affordable web hosting platforms available. Plans start as low as $2.95 a month, and you can even integrate it with WordPress. So if you need your own website or affordable web hosting, grab our discount link in the description and get your podcast a bigger presence online at low costs.
Hey guys, it's me, Cajun Mama Ty, and I am here to give y'all the French word of the day. So, as we've been talking about the different French words and different things throughout the Cajun heritage, I have had a couple of people ask me some questions. One question was, what is the difference between andouille and boudin? Okay, so andouille and boudin are two different types of Cajun sausage. So it is used in various dishes. Andouille is usually used more, is a smoked sausage used mostly in your jambalayas, gumbos, and that kind of stuff. And it is made with pork. So it's made with the meat of the pork. So it's made with pork ribs, it's made with pork roast. It's a combination of all the major parts of the pig that goes into making andouille sausage. Andouille is a very spicy Cajun seasoning smoked sausage. So it is, like I said, it's used a lot in our different Creole cooking. It's a highbrow countertop boudin. The reason why we say it like that is because it's made with the more expensive cuts of the pork meat. It's smoked twice, and it draws out all the flavors. So that's andouille. So boudin is different. Boudin is one of the staples of the Cajun cooking, and it's a sausage, but it is used by adding fillers. So you add rice to rice, meat, and spices. Boudin is used, you use the leftover pieces of the pig. So which you would use like the parts of the head of the pig. You would have the heart of the pig. You would have the liver of the pig. All of these things go into boudin, but it's also mixed with rice, spices, and anything you can think of that's kind of like the leftovers. So that's why they call andouille the high quality boudin because the andouille is made with the higher quality of meat and the boudin is made with the leftovers. So that is the difference between andouille and boudin. And to be honest with you, boudin is never really served in a meat, is served by itself as like a side dish or a dish on its own. It's never served in a Creole dish like an étouffée or a jambalaya or any type of dish. It is basically, boudin is on its own, but andouille sausage is an added thing to a dish. You would serve it with red beans and rice, or you would serve it in a crawfish étouffée, or you'd serve it in a shrimp étouffée, or you'd serve it, you can serve andouille by itself, but a lot of times andouille is served within a dish. So that's a little tidbit for you guys about andouille and boudin, and those are our two French words of the day, and they are the two most common types of Cajun sausage served here in Louisiana. So I am going to wrap this up and give you back to the good wives as they continue on with the case. And just to let you guys know, if there's anything you'd like to know in French or about the Cajun community, make sure to drop me a line. Make sure to let me know who you are and where you're from, and contact me on at my email, which is CajunMamaTie@gmail.com, and that is CajunMommaTie@gmail.com. I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys and to continue this journey. So let's head back to the Good Wives as I go back to listening to this Cajun music. See you guys later.
So in our next episode, we're going to pick up where we left off with Detective Flores attempting to get a confession from Jodi. We'll cover the rest of this tragic case, including Jodi's trial and beyond, and we'll also talk more about our interview with Kirk Nurmi.
It's going to be a lot of fun, guys. There's a lot more interesting stuff, and our interview with Kirk Nurmi is bar none amazing. He is such a good interesting person. Colleen and I did the interview. We went into that interview thinking, oh, this guy's going to be a smug asshole. I'm serious. We really did. And then we got in there and we were so pleasantly surprised by his demeanor and how nice and kind he was and really informative. That's why we ended up inviting him to be, one of our experts on Murder by Design, because he was just so great. Like, it was just such a funny thing, because I really went in there thinking, God, this guy,
Well, because literally listen to him for like hours upon hours and never get bored. Never.
Well, we never get to hear the defense side. And so having him educate us about the job of what they do, and it's like, we know they're guilty, but our job is just to, provide them a legal defense so they get a fair trial, and that, we try to, when it's cases like the death penalty, we just try to make sure they don't get the death penalty. And he gave us his viewpoints on the death penalty and the issues with it. And me and him had a really good conversation about like the medical aspect of the death penalty.
Yeah.
And
if you're one of those people that tend to be very hard on defense attorneys and say, well, I don't even know how they could sleep at night defending guilty people, like, this is an interview you need to listen to. It'll let you see it in such a different way and with such a different understanding.
And it will let you see how human they are, because he talks about, and he does this in his book too, the Trapped with Miss Arias, parts 1, 2, and 3. He talks about this in the fact that there were many times, and he even asked the judge to release him because he didn't want to do it anymore, because she was so, bizarre, and all the different things that she was doing. And you hear a very real perspective from the defense side of why what they do, while many people think it's terrible, it is absolutely necessary to make sure that these people get a fair trial, because they are guaranteed that, and it's fair. They do need a fair trial. They do need to make sure that there is somebody that really does, try to help them and everything, even if they are guilty, as sin. At least, he kept her off of death row, and he explains why that's important to him. But really hearing how it affected him, how it hurt him, how hard it was for him to go through it all. And that trial was bizarre. I've never seen a conclusion the way that it came down with the sentencing and everything. And we'll talk about that in the next episode. But him explaining how this affected his life really puts into perspective, for me at least, what the life of a defense attorney really is like. And they walk a hard road. They're not liked. They a lot of times it is a moral issue for them, because they do often know that their clients are guilty. And he still put on a very good defense for her. I watched parts of it, and he did a great job. But and you have to think of what's going through his head as he stands up there and he does this, knowing that, dude, she's crazy. But he didn't, but I can honestly say, I think he knew that there was no way she was going to get off. He was just trying to save her from being executed.
Right. It's a great interview. And he's shown up with us again since that interview, and he's one of our regulars now. And like we said, he's the defense side. We do have a couple people who talk about the prosecuting side. We've got our experts who talk about the investigation side. So they all bring together one amazing picture of what a case really is.
Right. And you can see him over on our Murder by Design on YouTube, where he's talked about, the Golden State Killer. I don't remember what other case he talked about. I think it was Vallow.
Vallow.
Yeah, Golden State Killer and Vallow. He gave some of his information about that and opinions. It was really informative. But if you guys ever have questions for any of the experts that we have, or us, or cases or anything, you can always send those to goodwivesdish@gmail.com, because we love hearing those things from you, and we would love to be able to ask our experts things that you want to know. So, and it doesn't have to be necessarily 100% case related. It can be anything to do with, this type of stuff, and we can always ask them, and we'll get you your answers.
Thanks so much for tuning in and dishing true crime with the Good Wives.
Don't forget to join our Patreon member club to get the full recipe shared tonight, inside documents and pictures from the case, bonus mini podcast episodes, live YouTube discussion, and an exclusive invitation to our discussion group on Facebook, and get some amazing Good Wives merch.
Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at True Crime Wives. And for more inside information, check us out on YouTube at Murder by Design, where we're currently talking about a few different true crime cases, from bullying murders to serial killers. We dish it all.
Have a good one from the Good Wives, serving up true crime, one dish at a time.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
O'Reilly. It's Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get up to a $25 gift card after rebate with the purchase of select Superstart batteries. Our professional parts people will test your old battery for free and recommend the right battery for your vehicle. For power, performance, and reliability, choose Superstart batteries only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.